Welcome to the 2025 Meet the FiReStarters panel. It's not a panel, it's a pitch session. So I am very excited to introduce you to our 2025 FiReStarter companies. These are companies that are using technology to change the world for the better in some way. There's a broad ecosystem of companies that have been FiReStarters in the past, and you'll see that the FiReStarters this year are no different. They are covering a wide range of topics, but they're all really incredible. So the way that this works is many of these companies are fundraising, not all of them, but many of them. And we will also be holding a reception this evening from, I don't want to misstate this, 5 to 7 p.m., right outside. There will be delicious heavy appetizers for dinner and a full bar. So we want you to have a great time talking to each other, talking to them, asking them any questions that you might have about their companies. And I would encourage you, if you're not yourself an investor, to think about who are the people that I know or the companies that I know that might be able to help these companies. FIRE is a community that succeeds when we support each other. We succeed because of the network that is here today, but also because of the network that's not here today. And so I just want to encourage everyone here to think of these companies. Our job as a community is to support these companies into the future. And for many of the reasons that we've talked about today and in general, the success of startups is not guaranteed, right? It's an extremely long and challenging road to be successful as a startup company, especially in some of these areas where the technology is new or innovative or harder to explain to people. And so I think it's important for this group to think of ourselves as we are joint shareholders in these companies, right? And so let us support their work today, but also in the future through connections and through your willingness to tell your friends about what they're doing and to help them make the world a better place. So next up, we have Immunolight, which is leveraging the latest advancements in energy conversion to create a paradigm shift in the treatment of cancer and also deliver value across a wide range of commercial industries. And here to talk about Immunolight is Rick Bourke, founder and CEO.
So, about 20 years ago, I started a company for the sole purpose of helping people who have cancer and their families. It's such a horrible disease. So we see a future where you get diagnosed with cancer, your doctor prescribes to you several therapies from Immunolight cancer therapy, and each therapy takes about 1 hour. There are no side effects to it. Pardon me. And after 2 or 3 months after you've taken your last therapy, you're cancer free, and this would be a wonderful thing. I'm Rick Bourke. I'm the founder and CEO of Immunolight. Before I go on with cancer, we've been working with the electromagnetic spectrum now for close to 20 years, and we've had some other discoveries which I'll briefly mention. We've done work in adhesives, and we can now bond materials together without using heat or toxic solvents, which is what companies use today. And this will allow shoe companies, as an example, to assemble their shoes in the countries where they're selling their products, and they're doing it without toxic chemicals, and there's no heat involved. And we're also doing this, and this allows them to avoid tariffs and possible repercussions from these toxic solvents that are used. We're also doing this with consumer electronic companies, allows them to shrink their parts that they put in their instruments without their cracking or warping. And we're currently working with a major consumer electronics company in this area now. Solar power. We're doing work in solar power. We can make the panels substantially more productive, and this technology can be retroactively fitted into existing solar panels. We're doing work in color, and we're able to make colors more vibrant than anything you've ever seen. And this is an opportunity for companies to make their products, differentiate the products from their competitors. And and we can take these colors and we can propagate them through materials, on surfaces of materials, or through fibers. And we're currently working with a major athletic shoe company in this area now. So back to cancer. There's a molecule called sorlin, and it's been around. It's in foods that we eat, and it's obviously been around forever. And if you take sorlin and you activate it in a rapidly dividing cell with ultraviolet light, you get a tremendous systemic immune response to that cell type. And this has been around, this therapy, for a very long time. And this was used for several thousand years. The ancient Egyptians would take a patient with vitiligo, these are white patches on the skin, and they would have the patient take a lime and squeeze lime juice on these white patches, which has sorlin in it. And then they'd have them go out in the sun, and they'd get exposed with ultraviolet light, which would activate the sorlin, and that would create an immune response to this condition. In the 1950s, this was used for a couple of diseases, psoriasis and psoriatic arthritis. You'd give a patient a capsule with sorlin in it, have them swallow it. You'd wait an hour or so. You'd have them take their clothes off and put them in an ultraviolet light box, and this would take care of these conditions. In the 1980s, I developed a therapy called photopheresis. And photopheresis is used for several diseases. One called scleroderma. There's one particular lymphoma that is used, and it's currently being used, and graft versus host, and some other conditions. And all of these therapies are still being used today with photopheresis. And this, pardon me, there have been literally thousands of articles written on sorlin over the years. They've all been published in medical journals, science journals. It's an amazing molecule. However, it does have one major restriction, and that is you can't penetrate any material. It's any material, including skin, will stop ultraviolet light. And going back to when we were doing photopheresis, we would take the blood out of the patient, add sorlin, and then shine ultraviolet light on and put it back into the patient. So whenever you're working with sorlin, you have to have the ability to get ultraviolet light to shine on it directly. So skin blocks it, so that was a problem. So in 2007, I started Immunolight, and the whole point of Immunolight was to take energy from the electromagnetic spectrum that can penetrate the skin, penetrate the body, go through the body, and then when it gets in the body, capture it and convert it into ultraviolet light. And we can do this with radio waves, microwaves, or X-rays, and we've done it, but X-rays is the simplest right now to use. So what we do is we've designed these energy converters that absorb X-ray energy, and then they emit ultraviolet light. And we have literally done thousands of experiments. We did them in Petri dishes, then we did them in rodents, then rabbits, then dogs, people's pets, we treated dogs, and now humans. And we did most of this work at Duke University, and we did some at the Johns Hopkins. Anyhow, so we did all these experiments, and we now are treating humans, where we take these energy converters, we mix them with liquid Sorlin, we put that mixture in a syringe, and we take a patient who's got one tumor or multiple tumors. We pick just one tumor, that's all we need. We inject this mixture into the tumor, and we then expose it to very low dose X-ray energy. And the energy converters will absorb the X-ray energy. They'll emit ultraviolet light. The ultraviolet light will activate Sorlin in the cancer cells, and once that happens, that triggers a profound immune response, systemic immune response to the cancer. And we've been doing this now for about 6 months. So over the last 20 years, we've received over 360 patents, over 12,000 claims, and we have many patents pending with the patent office. And I see, in summary, I see people doing over the years ideas on how to activate the immune system, and they come up with these very sexy ideas. You know, they come up with taking cells out of the patient, whether they're cancer cells or immune cells or both, doing all kinds of things to them, exposing them to antigens and whatnot, then reinfusing them back in the patient, and they never seem to work. They always have side effects, and in some cases, they trigger an autoimmune disease. Our therapy has been around for literally 4,000 years, and it's been used for 4,000 years, and whenever it's activated in a rapidly dividing cell, you get a systemic immune response against those cells. And it's a very powerful therapy. However, it's just been restricted due to the fact that you couldn't get it inside the body. And whenever it's been used outside the body, you've gotten perfect results with no side effects. My belief is that we're going to create a revolution in cancer therapy. And as I said at the very beginning, I truly believe that we're going to make people cancer-free. And this has been sort of my lifetime goal. Thank you.